Joining us now here in studio, Mr. Dan Perry, International Affairs Analyst. Thank you very much, Mr. Perry, for joining us. Well, the international sentiment is shifting.
I spent a quarter century in the international media. I think the global news industry is unbelievably important. It plays such a tremendous role in enabling democracies and discourse and free markets and so forth, and oftentimes is heroic, but it isn't perfect. And I think we're looking here at something of a market failure, to be honest with you. The international journalism industry tries so hard to be objective and neutral and balanced. And that's normally a laudable thing. And it's generally good to have that as an aspiration. But it sort of breaks down when one is dealing with absolute evil and where something has to be called out. Because it looks like you're taking a side. And I fear what has happened in this case is that global journalism and international news media has not made clear to the public around the world what is the true nature of Hamas, how satanic Hamas is, how much they oppress their own population, how their entire raison d'etre is to prevent a two-state solution, how they are in fact not friends of the Palestinian people, how what they want is an Islamist caliphate in all the region and all the world, if at all possible, and how when Palestinian civilians die, that is by Hamas design. They are happy, not sad. It is a feature, not a bug, and global journalism has not made that clear. They've engaged in a degree of both sidesism that pretends as if you have two antagonists here and both have good and bad. And that looks objective and neutral, that's true, but in this particular case, and this is a rare occasion where you have such a case, it is in fact a moral failing and a dereliction of duty.
Yeah, well, I suspect that now it's a bit too late to change this narrative that they have helped perhaps to set nearly 6 months ago. Briefly, Mr. Perry, before we have to wrap up this broadcast, despite the tensions and the criticism, another weapons deal signed between the U.S. and Israel. How can they all live together? Again, the criticism, the tension, and the weapons.
The bottom line is that the U.S. supports Israel. 80% of Americans support Israel in this war. Joe Biden supports Israel and says he's a Zionist. I'm not surprised that the weapons continue to come, but I would not suggest indifference to the fact that in the Democratic Party there is increasingly a discourse that is at odds with the current government of Israel and the continued prosecution of the war in absence of a day-after plan that offers the Palestinians some version of hope. I would hope that eventually the government of Israel wakes up and understands that it is not necessarily a surrender to pressure to work with the global community to enable such a day-after plan.
All right, Mr. Dan Perry, thank you very much for joining us.